My worst nightmare came true on a freezing December morning when I was 40 years old. I lost my job. My entire career as a civil engineer, built over years of hard work and dedication, came crashing down because of a global economic crisis. That day, I sat in my car, my hands trembling, wondering how I was going to provide for my family. I had 2 young kids at home, and a mountain of debt that felt impossible to climb. Sleep had become a distant memory, replaced by endless nights of worry and anxiety. My wife Sarah worked part-time as a school teacher, but her income wasn't nearly enough to cover our mounting expenses. Our 10-year-old son Ben was old enough to sense the tension, and our 7-year-old daughter Emily was starting to ask questions I didn't have answers for. Our home felt heavy with fear and uncertainty, but I had to keep up a brave face for my family. In the days that followed, I applied for every job I could think of. I sent out resumes, made calls, and showed up for interviews, but I kept hearing the same rejection. We're not hiring. I was running out of options and hope when an old friend suggested I look into sustainable construction materials. At first, it seemed like a wild idea, but then I started to think, what if this was my chance to rebuild everything from the ground up? The problem was, I had almost no money left. My savings were practically gone, and all I had was a small garage attached to our house. Still, I refused to give up. Every morning, I headed to the local library, poring over books about sustainable construction and watching free online courses. I learned everything I could about eco-friendly building materials. It was a steep learning curve, but my family's future depended on it. I came up with my first product idea, modular furniture made from recycled wooden pallets. It was simple, eco-friendly, and perfect for small living spaces. But the fear of failure loomed over me. I had no experience running a business. I was terrified. Yet every night, Sarah would bring me a cup of coffee in the garage and say, "I believe in you, David." Her unwavering support kept me going. It took me 3 months of late nights and countless mistakes to build my first prototypes. I wasted wood, mismeasured pieces, and sometimes felt like I was getting nowhere. But finally, I finished 3 pieces of modular furniture. I set up a small booth at a local market to sell them, hoping for a miracle. That day, I didn't sell a single piece. I drove home feeling defeated, ready to throw in the towel. But that evening, a local magazine editor who had seen my booth called me, wanting to feature my story in an upcoming issue. When the article came out, it changed everything. People loved the idea of sustainable furniture, and I started getting small orders. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough to keep going. I reinvested every penny I made back into the business. I transformed our garage into a tiny but functional workshop, and even Ben and Emily pitched in, helping me with painting and tightening screws. Running an online business brought its own set of challenges. I built a simple website to sell my furniture and promoted my products on social media. Some days, it felt like I was taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Orders got delayed, I received complaints, and sometimes I questioned whether I was cut out for this. But each setback was a lesson. I learned, adapted, and kept pushing forward. The real breakthrough came when I was invited to speak at a sustainability conference. Standing on that stage, I shared my story, the struggles, the sleepless nights, and the vision I had for a more sustainable future. When I finished, there was a brief, tense silence. Then, the room erupted in applause. That moment changed my life. Investors approached me, wanting to collaborate. My business was no longer a small garage operation. It had the potential to make a real impact. Today, my company is a global brand, known for sustainable, modular furniture made from recycled materials. What started as a desperate attempt to save my family has grown into a business that's changing the way people think about eco-friendly living. We're thriving, and Ben and Emily have a secure, happy home. Sarah, my rock through all of this, has always been by my side. I learned that success isn't about never failing. It's about refusing to quit, even when the odds are stacked against you. If my story teaches you anything, let it be this. Hard times will test you, but how you respond will define you. Keep going, keep learning, and never lose hope. If this story moved you, Please like and subscribe for more. And if you have your own story of overcoming struggles, share it in the comments below. Let's inspire each other to keep pushing forward.